Excellent. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to CubeWise Innovation Week 2024, which all starts today and runs all week with daily webinars with the CubeWise team and a number of our special guests. My name is James, and I'm excited to be your host today, where I'm joined by fellow CubeWisers. We have David, Guido, and Vincent, and shortly they'll be diving deep into PowerConnect, our groundbreaking integration connector between Planning Analytics and Power BI, and really looking forward to that. However, before we kind of introducing the CubeWise team further, I do want to share about why we're doing CubeWise Innovation Week, and also spend a few minutes plugging a number of the sessions that are happening throughout the week. As you can see, I've kind of dropped in the chat there the links to the registration page, and also a link to the PowerConnect page as well, where you can find quite a lot of content around architecture and prerequisites, which Guido and the team will be talking about shortly. So really looking forward to that. So why are we doing this? Why are we doing CubeWise Innovation Week? And this is the first year that we're doing it, and we're really excited to be presenting this to all of you in the Planning Analytics community. So we're doing this, in short, because there's a fantastic amount of innovation happening across CubeWise. And it's in our DNA to share this knowledge with the broader Planning Analytics community and demonstrate how at CubeWise we harness this complexity with our innovation and high-tech based solutions to help you do more good TM1. And we're really excited about that. And I think today's going to be a great kickoff, and we've got a lot of great sessions following this throughout the week, which I'll talk about shortly. For me, this all really kind of started in some ways back in 2017, when I started to observe the potential of the TM1 REST API and how it could be a massive game changer for TM1 and Planning Analytics. And we fast forward to today, and we see so many exciting innovations happening in and around the TM1 server and now the Planning Analytics engine, which are in many ways possible because of the development and maturity of the TM1 REST API. So we're going to be talking about this quite a bit throughout the week, and again, this is such a really kind of important differentiator for us within the Planning Analytics community. Now, what we can do within the Planning Analytics ecosystem. Okay, so that to one side. Let's just kind of touch on the agenda this week, which is really jam-packed, and let's just kind of walk through that quickly. So today, as I said, we have David, Guido, and Vincent, and myself here to discuss and present PowerConnect. And Vincent also has a big announcement from CubeWise Code regarding where next for PowerConnect, and we're looking forward to that. And then tomorrow, Tuesday, we'll have Marius, Shane, and Jason from the CubeWise team, as well as Ryan Clapp from Amazon, who will be discussing their recent implementation success with the Planning Analytics engine, or otherwise referred to as version 12. So we'll kind of refer to those kind of interchangeably. And we'll also be sharing the much anticipated update regarding version 2 of TM1 and its supportability for version 12, or Planning Analytics engine. So that's tomorrow, and please attend that. It's going to be a really informative session with the CubeWise team and Ryan from Amazon. And then on Wednesday, I'll be back on hosting duties and joined by fellow CubeWisers, Marius, Rose, and Nicholas, as we launch Atmosphere, which is another new and exciting solution that's going to be brought to you by the CubeWise Innovation Lab, that will again be incubated here in the US in a similar way to how we've gone to market with PowerConnect. And as a bit of a brief background of what Atmosphere is, you think of it as a library of pre-built serverless cloud functions and integrations that really has the potential to revolutionize how we integrate with third-party data sources in a matter of minutes. And we're going to talk about Atmosphere on Wednesday, and additionally on Thursday during the DevOps session, we'll be kind of showing you how we deploy Atmosphere as an example using Arc. On that Thursday session, it's going to be that much anticipated DevOps presentation, which will be hosted by Andrea, and fellow CubeWisers Nicholas, Rose, and Guido will be back on the mic as well. And this, in my opinion, is a must-see for those who want to deploy tools and practices that will systematically improve your development, test, and release pipelines. Additionally, Ian Boltz from our CubeWise UK team will share an important update regarding Test Center, the new Arc Plus functionality, which allows planning analytics developers and admins to test their TM1 code before it is released. And that's, really exciting, kind of another groundbreaking innovation. Okay, so, and then to wrap it up, on Friday, Nicholas, Jason, and myself will wrap up CubeWise Innovation Week, and we'll ask one of my favorite questions, and that is, how fast is fast enough when loading data into planning analytics, and also between planning analytics cubes. During this session, we'll discuss various techniques, options, and considerations on how you can load data faster and faster and faster, and also analyze, the performance of that data and all the different considerations and tests that you should be doing. And this, the DevOps session will kind of be touch on this as well. But again, I do recommend you, if you're kind of interested in kind of that age-old question of is my data loading fast enough, or how fast is fast enough as well, please join that session. Okay, so all that to one side. In terms of housekeeping, yes, the webinars are being recorded and they'll be available on demand shortly following each session. Additionally, we do want this to be as interactive as possible, in this digital environment. So if you're comfortable, please feel free to turn your cameras on and share reactions and questions with the CubeWise teams and other folks on the call. We will be watching the chat and the Q&A session. So again, the more feedback we can get from the people on the line, the better. Okay, so all of that to one side. Let me introduce the CubeWise team on the call. So firstly, we have David, who is a technical account manager here based in San Diego, and he'll be kind of running through the Power Connect demonstration in a second. We also have Guido, senior software engineer and lead innovation developer for Power Connect, who's based out of Boston. And we have Vincent, general manager for CubeWise Code, who is calling in from Paris today. So hi to you all, and I hope you're doing well.
Thank you.
Hi. Excellent.
Thanks, James.
Excellent. Good to see you all. Good to see you all indeed. So maybe, David, to you first. You've worked with many of our customers here at CubeWise regarding, Power Connect and it's how we've incubated it in the US. And Vincent will have a big update later on regarding where that product is going next. Would you mind sharing some details and a bit about your experience about what is Power Connect and why are customers so excited about this new CubeWise product?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, so I think to really talk about Power Connect, we got to really talk about the evolution of Power Connect and how it came about and eventually why it is so popular with our clients right now. So around 2 years ago, we had a longtime client who we had worked with quite a bit. And what they had done was they were really interested in connecting their TM1 to Power BI. So they had actually gone out into the marketplace looking for a connector to accomplish this. And they had spent quite a bit of money on other connectors. And what they found was that these connectors were really inefficient and not suitable for what they wanted to accomplish. Now, there were two areas that were really important to them that these connectors did not satisfy. One thing was obviously the security in TM1 was not being ported over into Power BI. Therefore, end users in Power BI were able to see data that they were not supposed to be able to see. So that was a very important area of concern for them, and one that was very inefficient in these connectors that they had tried out in the marketplace. The second thing was they were not maintaining the dimensional structure properly. So what they found was that these connectors were using the fact table to build out their dimensions. And if there was, for example, if the fact table contained a store dimension, right, store elements, if 1 month that store did not have any data, when they were building out their dimension, that store would not show up in their dimension, and therefore historical data for that store was not showing up in Power BI. So these were two key areas where they found these connectors were just really not up to par. So they came to us. They had known that we had a connector using TM1 Pi, and they wanted to help wanted us to help them build out a connector that could satisfy these two requirements. And that's kind of how Power Connect came to be. Since that, we have actually done quite a few number of implementations on premise for cloud, and all the customers have been extremely satisfied and happy with the Power Connect.
Excellent. Thank you, David. And I guess you're going back a bit further there, from the evolution there, I guess, as you said, we kind of incubated this new Cubewise innovation solution, and Vincent will talk about the update shortly about where it's going with Cubewise Code. Where from your perspective, obviously we're talking about data syncing, security syncing, and metadata syncing. Those core things about supporting ragged hierarchies, dimensional updates, attributes, and things like that. There's some really kind of core things there to kind of discuss. And maybe Guido, you were kind of you are the lead developer on Power Connect, and we're part of the team, the engineering team that kind of helped incubate this with this particular customer of Cubewise's, who are a big petrochemical company based down in Texas. I think 2,500 Planning Elite's cloud users. From your perspective, who has been working on this for over about 2 years now, what are you most proud of with Power Connect, and what's your kind of feedback from the customers about why they're excited about it?
Yes, I would say it's a couple of things that stand out to me. Like one is definitely the security aspect, right? To nail that down and secure your data so people have only access to things that they are supposed to see. And I would make the point that the ease of use is the other one, right? So you go in, and with a few clicks, you get your data into Power BI. You create your star schema, you model it, you can do whatever Power Query allows you to do. But Planning Analytics really acts like any other data source in Power BI. So refreshing data online, creating your data sets, you can join it with other sources as well. So I think those are the really two cool aspects about Power Connect. And as David said, right, customers, they use the existing Microsoft ecosystem for Power BI. So you have your phone app, you have a tablet or whatever platform. The online service allows you the distribution of reports. That is all the same with Planning Analytics now. So I think that's sort of my experience.
Yeah, that's a fair comment. And Vincent, from yourself, kind of, your experience here now, kind of working with some of our European customers with Power Connect. Anything that you're kind of seeing and observing with those customers before we hand it across to David to actually show and do a bit of a demonstration about Power Connect? I mean, what are you seeing there over in Europe?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, James. Yeah, so actually, I was a bit surprised when I heard about Power BI and the popularity in the Tier 1 market, because for me, as a Tier 1 developer, I always use Excel, and with Excel, you can do already a lot. But talking with customers in Europe, you realize that when you have your Tier 1 applications, you have your Tier 1 users who love Excel, but you also have some Power BI users who are not your Tier 1 users, but they want to access your Tier 1 data. And this is where really there is a need to share this Tier 1 data with your non-Tier 1 users. They could be your top management, they could be in a different departments, but they want to see this data. So there are some different ways to do it, with some code or extract data into CSV, send it to a database, but then you end up with two data sources, Tier 1 and these extra external sources. So what is very nice with Power Connect is that now it brings a real-time connectivity to your Power BI users who are not Tier 1 users.
Yeah, and I also like to add, and this is what we've seen with a lot of other clients, is that the way that clients were bringing their TM1 data over to Power BI, a lot of them were actually doing file exports out of TM1 and importing them into Power BI, which is, can be a really cumbersome process, as well as, because there's some intermediary step, there's possibilities for data to get, messed up somehow. So having a direct connection to TM1 is very welcomed by these clients.
You know, I would definitely agree that from what I've seen, you know, you're speaking to different customers, you know, that kind of manual export out of, you know, your data, basically your data dump out of a cube. And then, you know, you're running the risk that maybe the data is going to get massaged on the way into Power BI. Of course, you know, you talked about, you know, real-time updates, you know, the importance of that, security on the data, you know, that's, you know, ever increasing, and you know, depending on the type and shape of the data, whether it's workforce data or maybe particularly sensitive, you know, financial data. You know, having that security and I guess that integration pipeline between planning analytics and Power BI is just, you know, ever more important.
Yep.
And we do have a great question that's going to come in through the chat about how about loading Team1 data into data warehouse and publishing into Power BI. And I think it's a great question, which I think, Guido, we've had some experiences with one of our larger customers in terms of where they were storing their security information. And maybe that's something you can touch on when we get into the architecture and prerequisites. So again, and thank you for that question. Please kind of keep dropping those questions in because we do want to as interactive and as possible, and as those questions are really great feedback for us. Okay, so David, you know, we talked about you know briefly what is Power Connect and why it's popular, both here in the US and Europe, and obviously, you know, down in Asia and Australia as well. We can kind of touch on that from that perspective. But would you mind kind of maybe walking the audience through you know, presentation of what is Power Connect and how easy it is to use and some of those core features?
Sure. All right. So why don't we just jump into it right now? I'm going to share my screen. All right. Okay. So what you are all looking at right now is Power BI Desktop. So what I'm going to do is kind of show you how using Power Connect, we can kind of build out a simple dashboard. And then from there, we're going to jump onto the online service in the web. So like any connector in Power BI, first you got to go get your data. And I'm going to do that and connect to PM1 using Power Connect. So I'm going to do a quick search here for our connector, and it's, as you can see, you have the CubeWise Power Connect. I'm going to connect. Now, I'm currently signed in other applications, so it's not asking me for my authentication. But had I not been signed into other applications, it would have taken me to my company's Active Directory and asked me for two-factor authentication. So, you know, as an organization, you have comfort knowing that only the people with access are accessing your data. So now I connect, and what you're going to see here onto the left-hand side is everything, all the servers that you are currently connected to through Power Connect. And within each server, underneath, if I expand that, you're going to see all the different databases that I'm connected to. If I expand this a little further, what you'll see here are all the cubes that you have access to and that you can use in your dashboard. And if I expand that even further, you'll see all the dimensions for the cubes. And underneath all the dimensions, you have all your hierarchies, all your subsets that you can use for your dashboarding as well. Underneath that, you see all the views. Now you can use these views to load up into your data section for your dashboards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load up this preview, which was set up specifically for Power BI dashboard. Excuse my voice. I was yelling at the TV for about 4 hours yesterday during the Super Bowl, so I kind of lost my voice. So excuse me for that. So in this view, what we have here on the, we're going to have all the dimensions and the elements on the rows, and you're going to have all your measures, the things that you're going to do your analysis on in the columns. So I'm going to use this particular view to load up into my dashboard. And next, I'm going to take a look at the store dimension. And I'm going to load up this preview. Now, obviously, you can see all the elements which are within this dimension, but to the right, you're going to see all the attributes for this dimension as well. And, you know, this is important because this means you can use the attributes for your slicer, for your filtering, as well as the elements within the dimension. To the very right, when we load up the data from TM1, it will also load up the levels, levels 1 through 3 in this particular instance. And these levels are what you're going to use to build out the hierarchies within Power BI. And that's basically just the Power BI functionality, right? When you bring in your dimension, you have to build out your hierarchy. And once you build it out, it's already going to be built for you, and you can use that for all your dashboarding needs. Now that I've loaded up the store dimension, I'm going to go to the security section, and I'm going to apply security on the store dimension. So open up the store, and I'm going to once you see this preview, you're going to see on the left-hand side all the clients that are within this environment, as well as all the security groups and all the assignments for those the store. Now that I've previewed all of these,
just to jump in to allow you there a moment, because I appreciate you were pretty busy yesterday with the Super Bowl. So there's really good questions coming in, and one of the questions is, do Power BI users need access? Need a PA license? Planning analytics license. So that's I guess a question that it's an age-old question that gets asked when we're connecting any kind of BI tool, as an example, into planning analytics. So what's the feedback there?
I can take this one if it's okay.
Please.
So the Power Connect can run in two modes. One where a user connects directly to planning analytics on cloud or on-prem, and your credentials are going to, or your security settings are going to be applied in TM1. So you're directly connected and your security applies. This is true for Power BI Desktop. There is a mode that allows you to always establish an admin connection, and then you would use Power BI Online Security to secure your data there. So the answer is yes, if you want to have a secure connection into TM1 in Power BI Desktop, you need a Planning Analytics license. But once the data is inside of Power BI, if you publish it online, you refresh it, you do need like one account for the refresh, but not everybody who the reports are distributed to needs to have a Planning Analytics license. Hope that answers that question.
And that does. So, and in that situation where, for example, you have a Power BI user who's not a Planning Analytics user, where would you typically how would you typically manage that security for that Power BI user who isn't a PA user as well?
Right. So the example you mentioned earlier, you can basically source that security information from anywhere. So we had one customer. They had a really large number of groups in TM1, and that can explode your data set by quite a bit to find out who has access to which element. But they were sourcing that security information already from a SQL source. So what we basically did is we married the SQL source with the Planning Analytics content, and then you publish it online, refresh, security is applied, works beautifully. So you, if you want to give access to people outside of Planning Analytics, at least online, you will need to have a source for that security information somewhere.
Which is something, as you said, that customer that we worked with, I think it was an on-prem customer there, and there was several thousand security groups from memory. And again, as you said, there's that the security tables were kind of in a data warehouse, another repository which we needed to kind of stitch together. So there's a really good architectural solution there that we can apply. Because again, there's different sites have different kind of, I guess, security parameters and a different ecosystem of tooling, which we would configure and set up Power Connect to kind of suit your unique requirements. Thanks Guido for that. David, hopefully you get a chance to have a sip of water there.
Oh yeah. Any
Yeah.
chance to be able to rest my voice here is very welcomed as it slowly
Yeah,
fades away.
Yeah, it was a long game yesterday, going into extra time.
Yeah,
it was a long one.
Especially long for me.
Yeah. All right, mate. Back to you, please.
All right. Okay. So now that we've loaded up our data, I'm going to the model view. And as you can see, we have our security table here, we have our dimension table here, and we have our fact table. Now, Power BI was intuitive enough to already make the join between the store dimension and the store security, because it's automatically all store to store. Here in the fact table, however, we use the leaves dimension from the store, leaves hierarchy from the store dimension. So we're going to have to make that join manually. Where's stores? There it is. So now I've joined my fact table to my dimension table, and the dimension tables joined to my security table. Now this is a very simple model. You can obviously apply multiple security to dimensions, the dimensions in your dashboard, but this is just simple models just for demonstration. So what I'm going to do now is, like I mentioned before, we have to build out our hierarchy because Power BI is not going to automatically do that for you. So I'm going to just build out my store hierarchy. I'm going to create a hierarchy here. It's really quick. And now this hierarchy has been built, and I can use this in all of my dashboards where this dimension is being used. So I'm going to quickly build out a really quick table here. I'm going to use our store dimension, let's say units and revenue. So now here I have a quick cross tab of my stores and all the units and the revenue. And I'm going to use my the slicer option to be able to slice on the store dimension, on the stores. So now, as you can see, the cross tab is linked to our dimension here. So whatever I select, the cross tab will reference from the slicer. So once you do all of this, you can obviously spend time building out your Power BI dashboard, and then you can load it up into the online service. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch to the online service. And this is a dashboard that I created, using the same data set. This is obviously a much nicer looking dashboard online. And what we're going to do now is demonstrate that once you make a change to TM1, be it data, metadata, or security, that change is going to be reflected in your dashboard.
And then just there, for David, for a second, I know that Guido, you had I think a bit of a question there, and I guess additionally, thanks for all the questions that are coming into the chat, and Vincent, thanks for jumping on and answering some of those. That's great to see. But Guido, you please, you had a question there.
Yeah, no, just to reiterate, right? So the building of the star schema gives you several benefits, right? One is the integrity that David mentioned early on. So if you make sure that way that all the elements are always there that you want to look at, not relying on the fact table for that. The second one is that filtering that David just applied with the slicer, clicking on one element and then the fact table adjusts. That's the second benefit. The third one is you get the attributes, right? So if you want to display an attribute, you can just click on it and it shows in your visualization. And number 4 would be those levels, right? So that helps you to build out that hierarchical representation in Power BI. Did I miss something?
No, I think that was pretty. I think you covered it. Yep, very important about all those points. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that there is a question also about cell level security in T1. I guess there were lots of questions about security, so I think you cover it. You talk again later about it, but yeah, you have element security that we saw David took the stores element security, but yeah, what about the cell security? Is it getting applied when you extract a view from Power Connect?
Yes, so in the mode where your credentials are being used, so there's a difference between Power BI Desktop and Power BI Online. That's very important to see. In Power BI Desktop, if a user directly connects to Planning Analytics with their credentials, their security is enforced down to cell level security. Now, unfortunately, that doesn't really work in the Power BI Online world. So in the online world, and I think that answers the last two questions about the security cube and the cell level security. So cell level security does not apply in Power BI Online. However, you can make a representation with that security cube of your element level security in Power BI Online. So that uses role level security. And then if a user has the viewer role in a workspace, that's when you can apply the sort of the element level security. And again, that can go beyond to what you just have in TM1 or Planning Analytics. So you can include other users who don't have a license in TM1.
Yeah, thanks, Guido. I think yeah, it's for me as well. All the security part is a bit more complex because now you have tier 1 users and Power BI users, and some Power BI users might not be tier 1 users, so you might end up having a custom security that you build in Power BI, or like a customer did. They have their security in a database that they just extract they just get from Power BI.
Yeah, so the implementing the security took quite some time, right? And that's also, I mean, it not only is it a differentiator, but also the part that I think I'm most proud of figuring it out. So, all good.
Yep. Agreed. Yeah, cheers to that. I agree that the security during the security aspects, obviously, it's very important for us all. Increasingly, you know, that data security. But again, one of the big feedback we've seen from our customers around this is obviously there's the default option that comes with Power Connect, but also we can customize how the security kind of is configured, because, you know, again, different sites are different, you know, have different variations of how they want to approach security and how it's managed. So the customization of it is really exciting, and it's something to be, you know, Guido is correct to say, something we're very proud of in terms of that innovation. Excellent. All right, David, maybe back to you to kind of keep it going.
So let's try to run through this fairly quickly. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a change into the data in TM1 and then demonstrate how it's reflected in Power BI. Now, obviously, your data is the most important part. You want to have comfort knowing that whenever data is changed in TM1, that what you're looking at in Power BI is reflecting that change. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill down, and I'm going to look at Beijing blues. So here you can see to the left, we've got 126 units of Beijing, the blues. So I'm going to go in. And this is workspace, same data set. So you can see we have 126 units, and I'm going to make a change, and let's make this 190. So now in Power BI, we should expect to see 226 units of Beijing, right? So I'm going to go to back to the data set, and I'm going to manually refresh my data set. Now, I'm manually refreshing this right now, but obviously in Power BI, you can manually refresh this ad hoc, or you can have it on a schedule. And I think the schedule is how many times you can refresh it per day is dependent on, you know, whatever your subscription level is. But yeah, for now, I'm just going to manually refresh it. Going back to my Power BI dashboard. And now you can see that my data has been reflected. The change has been reflected, and we have 226 units. So the next thing I'm going to show is demonstrate how the metadata is updated as well. So if you see here in North America, all we have is the America region. I'm going to go back into Workspace. And you can see here, we only have one region under North America. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add Canada because for whatever reason, we always forget about Canada. So now Canada is part of North America. So I'm going to go back. Again, I'm going to refresh my data set. And, anytime you're doing a refresh of your data set, you're not only refreshing your data, you're not only refreshing your metadata, but you're also refreshing security at the same time. So all three get refreshed at the same time. Again, I'm going to go in, and then now you can see that a new element was added to this roll-up, and it's being reflected in Power BI. So you have comfort that, hey, whenever there's a dimensional change in the dimension in TM1, it's also going to be reflected in Power BI as well.
And there's a really relevant question just there, David. Sorry to cut you off there, mate. But there's a really relevant question that comes in here, and in that's relation to and we experienced this when we were I guess innovating this product about 2 years ago, and we were kind of looking at what some of the other connectors can't do. And can you just kind of touch on ragged hierarchies and the supportability of that within Power Connect? And the important, because ragged hierarchy is such an important part of planning analytics, and so do you mind just kind of sharing a little bit about that, given we're talking about the metadata and hierarchical aspects?
Yeah, you want to take that?
Yes, I was actually just going to write an answer in the chat, but
oh, okay, yeah.
No, it's all good. So ragged hierarchies are difficult in Power BI. You just got to say that out loud, right? So the Power Connect can provide the information that the hierarchical structure. But the visualizations for ragged hierarchies in Power BI, they are not all that great. There are some third-party options for that, which I've looked into. They seem to work for certain configurations. But yes, that's difficult. So you can either have blanks in your hierarchy, or you can have multiple repeats of the same level. But ragged hierarchies, yeah, difficult. I would make the point that this is true also for if an element has multiple parents, right? That is just not something Power BI understands. So again, there's only so much Power Connect can do to help you provide the information. But yes, there are some limitations in Power BI itself, unfortunately.
And to reiterate, that's more of a Power BI limitation, right? Not necessarily a Power Connect issue.
David, there's a question about hierarchies and virtual hierarchies, or I guess it's probably easier to answer by showing the Power BI desktop that actually when someone is using a dimension, it's actually using the hierarchy of the dimension, but because you need to expand the dimensions, maybe you can show just in the tree that if you expand store, you see the hierarchies.
Right, yeah.
Because this one is always a bit confusing. What is a hierarchy and a dimension? Actually, you are only using hierarchies.
Right, so kind of exactly what you just said. When you do expanded store to like a dimension, you'll see all the virtual hierarchies as well as the main hierarchy, and all the subsets that are available for you to use for your dashboarding. So where was that store dimension? So if I go here.
So even if you don't use hierarchies, actually you will still need to expand, and you will see the there is just one hierarchy. If you're not using hierarchy, there will be just one, the default one, which has the same name.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Excellent. Okay, we're getting some really good questions here about the hierarchies and things like that, which we're going to come back to. But just kind of moving along a little bit, David. There, so obviously we're showing the metadata side of things. What next here for before we pass
security.
across to Guido to kind of
Obviously,
dive deep into some architecture.
This is one of the one thing that Guido was most proud of, and the one thing that was most requested by the clients and most important to them, because obviously they want to make sure not everyone is seeing data that they're not supposed to be seeing in Power BI. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and impersonate one of our team members, and I'm going to show you what he can currently see under his role. So I'm going to go and impersonate Dean. Now, Dean can currently only see the Asia region, and underneath that, he can see India, Malaysia, Taipei, and Thailand. So I'm going to go back into Workspace. I'm going to go to Security, and you can see that Dean is currently in the India, Malaysia, Taiwan, and Thailand group. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove him from 2 of the groups here. So now when I go back into Power BI, he should only be able to see India and Malaysia. So going back, again, I'm going to refresh this data set. And again, like I was saying, I'm manually refreshing this, but you can have this on a schedule, like every hour, every half hour, whatever your subscription provides. And it does, when you do your updates, again, like I just want to reiterate it, it updates your data, metadata, and security all at once. So I'm going to go back into security. I'm going to go impersonate Dean again.
So this impersonation is a feature of Power BI Online. So if you're a Power BI admin, you can impersonate anyone.
Yes. Yeah. Was that a question? Sorry, I thought you were just answering it. Sorry. Yes, so as an admin, you can go in and impersonate others just to ensure that you can see what they're saying. Great feature. So as you can see now, I removed Taipei and Thailand from his security. So all he can now see is India and Malaysia. So now you can have this comfort that, hey, whatever that person is able to see in TM1, he's only seeing that same data in Power BI Online.
Excellent. Nice work, David. Nice work, David, going through that.
Thanks.
I think feel free to take a moment's break.
Now I can rest my voice. As you can hear it slowly slipping away.
I really appreciate that, very much so. And we have quite a number of really good questions coming through here. And I think what we're going to do now is going to pass it across to Guido, who's going to kind of share a little bit, go a bit deeper into the technological aspect of Power Connect from a prerequisite and architecture perspective, and in doing so, answer additionally kind of revisit some of these really important questions around hierarchical support, direct query mode, and things like that. So Guido, looking forward to you sharing some kind of really important insights around Power Connect's architecture and prerequisites.
Thanks, James. Hope you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so this is the QBuys Code website. You can find all kinds of interesting information about products and then innovations. I'm going to just go quickly through the help section. So there's a bunch of help articles. So architecture-wise, it's a traditional 3-tier architecture. So you have the data end is planning analytics, right, for Power Connect or any other source that is being included in your data set. There's the middle tier, the Power Connect service that connects via the REST API to planning analytics. And then there is the 2 clients, so to speak, is Power BI Desktop. You have the custom connector that David was showing, and then you have the on-premise data gateway that basically allows you to refresh your data in the online service. So that's important too. And you can schedule these refreshes, right? I think it's up to 48 times, depending on your subscription, per day. So you can in fact refresh your data sets multiple times per day. So prerequisites. So this is important just to get the system set up. So we recommend to have a dedicated resource for Power Connect. There is some memory consumption, some CPU utilization. So we wouldn't want that on the same machine as Planning Analytics, or share the resources with some other tools. So if this is mission critical for you, we do recommend to have a dedicated resource for that. We start off big. There was a question about volume. So 64 gigabytes, this was able to handle like a data set with 7.5 million rows. So the way the data is comprised, it's interesting and different than in TM1, because now you're looking at sort of like if you were doing a data extract in TM1, right? So you have your element information stacked on the rows, and then you have some measures across. And so the majority of the data, excuse me, is actually coming from the element information and not from your numbers. So it's just the other way around in TM1, where you know left side feeders, but your cube data, the numbers are the majority of your memory footprint. So that's different when you are doing the conversion from Power BI to from Planning Analytics to Power BI. And again, there's some processing involved to make that translation to something that Power BI understands. So in case you are interested in the where the security is applied in Power BI Desktop, there's some OAuth registration in Microsoft Azure. There's another article that goes a little bit more in detail into that. But yeah, so a network configuration, you got to be able to manage the traffic. For PA Cloud, you actually need to apply SSL certificates. They are optional, but highly recommended. So all your data in transit is secured from any place to any other place. And then some more network configuration. Power Connect currently supports Windows Server 2016 and up, I believe. And then, just to be able to connect to the machine, you need obviously remote desktop access, but that's sort of a given. That sort of covers the prerequisites and architecture. And I will stop sharing my screen and look out for more questions.
Maybe Guido, just on the installation, because as you said before, there are two ways to use Power BI, Power Connect with Power BI Desktop. Either you just use your one TM1 admin, where your TM1 admins are using Power BI Desktop to prepare the data and to share it with your Power BI users. And this way, it's very easy and straightforward to install Power BI, Power Connect. So it's very quick to install. You don't need to do many configuration. It's only if you want, like David just shown, like if you want your users to connect through Power BI Desktop, that needs a little bit more configuration. But the installation is still straightforward, but it's more the configuration with your IT department to allow Power Connect to connect through the Azure gateway.
Yes, you're absolutely right on the spot there, Vincent. So the once the prerequisites have been fulfilled, it's really a matter of an hour to get Power Connect up and running.
I think I saw a question earlier, and I'm sure this is on everyone's mind. Are there any limitations in terms of data volume?
Only the ones that are imposed by Microsoft. I mean, there is hardware limitations, right? So if you, that's just a matter of function. That's the same in TM1, right? If you have too much data, you need more memory. That's the same. The same applies for Power Connect. So that I would say, in theory, there's some 35 gig data set limit in Power BI Online. I'm not. I haven't confirmed that, but I heard it from a customer. But we haven't really come close to that with Power Connect.
And
Yeah,
is that
maybe-
data? Oh, sorry. Does it persist, or is it within where is this data stored? Is this?
Yes, it's all really in two places, right? It's in TM1 and it's in Power BI. So
Okay.
Power Connect really doesn't, store any data in transit.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, there is a limit of 30 minutes when you refresh the data in Power BI. So you need the data to be back from TM1 in less than 30 minutes. And so far, I'm not aware of any customers who reach this limit of Power BI. So yeah, I think when we are talking with customers, they were quite happy to see that it takes less than 30 minutes even to bring back millions of records. Because sometimes exporting data to TM1 and uploading to a database can take longer.
That's a good point, and this is kind of a nice segue into our discussions later on Friday about how fast is fast enough when loading data, and that kind of that you're looking for people like more and more looking for instantaneous updates when moving data between planning analytics and obviously third-party data sources. So excellent stuff there. Okay, we're coming up on time here, and there's been some great questions coming through. I think from our side of things, we welcome these questions and thank you. We'll try to follow up where possible with some of the ones we haven't been able to address. But additionally, as Guido was showing on our website and just in the chat there, jump onto the CubeWise Code website. There's a really good depth of information there around prerequisites and architecture, and sizing guides and all those kind of great things. So please dive into that, and then of course hit that contact us button, and we'll be more than happy to kind of reach out and have a discussion with you, and talk about how we go from a next step. And of course the Power Connect is available on a 30-day risk-free trial as well. So a great way to start. But all that to one side. I know, Vincent, this is
Yes.
part of today's session was a big global announcement. So as General Manager of CubeWise Code, I'm going to pass it to you and let you share the really important update here.
Yeah, thanks, James. James, I saw on the chat there was someone from Belgium. So I'm quite happy to see that even if it's late, he managed to join the meeting. So this person was asking, is Power Connect only available in the US? So the answer is that no, Power Connect is now available worldwide. So I just want to take a step back and just mention again the CubeWise Innovation Lab. So at CubeWise, we have a program to help consultants to build innovations. And while this innovation is currently being built and introduced to their markets, it is currently limited to their region. And Power Connect is the first innovation which is the level of being a product. So as of today, Power Connect is now a CubeWise product. It is part of CubeWise Code, so it means that it is supported globally. So it is still early for Australia and late for Europe, and very early for Asia. But if you watch this recording, so be aware that Power Connect is now available. So again, it's very easy to install. So just reach out to your CubeWise local contact or through our website, and we'll help you. We'll first do a demo and we'll help you to try it out in your environments. So I'm going quickly to show the new website, because on Saturday we will launch the new website of CubeWise Code and CubeWise, and you will see that on the new website. So Power Connect is now a product, and it is now available worldwide. So we are very happy, and we thank the US team for seeing the opportunity and building this great product. Because as James was mentioning before, there are other competitors and other ways to get data into Power BI, but really Power Connect is the best way to to get your TM1 data into Power BI. So that's it.
That's exciting news. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's exciting news. Obviously, we've got our new website that's going to be released over the weekend, and looking forward to seeing that on Saturday. And yeah, as Vincent touched on, Power Connect is now generally available worldwide. So, you know, a big kind of shout out to Guido there as the lead developer on that. It's a great achievement and something we're very proud of. So yeah, nicely done, team. So, you know, I guess with that, you know, we are excited to kind of share that, and thanks for as you said, the people in Belgium and others kind of staying up late. You know, CubeWise is a very much a global business, you know, touching, you know, Vincent's here in Europe and the team here in the US. So yeah, looking forward to, you know, great success there with Power Connect globally. Now, kind of like just as a quick wrap here, as I said, these recordings, these sessions are being recorded and will be available shortly after we wrap up here. And I guess I do encourage folks to, if they have the time, to kind of join us in the following sessions throughout the week. I think, you know, tomorrow's session where we're diving deep into the Planning Analytics Engine or version 12 and talking about TM1Pi 2.0. We'll be talking with I said with Marius, you know, Shane and Jason from the CubeWise side, and Ryan Clapp from Amazon. And then on Wednesday, we're going to be launching a new Innovation Lab solution, which is again being incubated in the US with support from the TM1Pi product team at CubeWise, and that's Atmosphere. So definitely come and look at that. That's, you know, pre-built serverless cloud functions. And then on Thursday, we'll be having a look at DevOps. And kind of having a look at why that's becoming increasingly important. And again, you know, having a look at, you know, how this is going to be actually increasingly relevant as well for cloud, you know, version 12. And we're going to be, you know, showing a true DevOps kind of pipeline with the team on that one. And then, as I said, on Friday, we're going to be wrapping it up with one of my favorite topics, you know, faster data processing and, you know, exploring one of the options and techniques and how to kind of analyze you know, big data movement and those really important things. So with that, I think it's a wrap, team. So I want to thank Guido and David and Vincent. I know it's late for you, and David, you know, I know lots of cheering yesterday, so appreciate you persevering. And Guido, you know, big high five to you on all the work you've done here to kind of get Power Connect to where it is. So great work, team. So with that, we are a wrap. So again, thank you very much for the time, and I hope you have a good rest of your morning, day, or evening, wherever you are. And yeah, I hope you continue doing good TM1. And thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks all.
See you. Bye.
Thank you.